Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're going to do a predictions. This is predictions for AEW Revolution 2022. First up, we're going to jump right into this with the pre-show matches. Hook versus QT Marshall. I think this is easy. This is an obvious one. Hook with the win here. I can't see any reason not to pick him. Next up on the second announced pre-match, or buy-in as they call it, show, Layla Hirsch versus Kris Statlander. I'm going with Layla here. I think there's going to be a face turn based on the weird adoption stuff they did that Statlander said. So I'm going to go with Layla for the win here. I think after that, they have to have her win. Next up, we have the AHFO, our Andrade Hardy Family Office, which is one of the worst names I've ever heard. Matt Hardy, Andrade, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy Guevara. I'm taking Darby, Sting, and Sammy. I think that the AHFO is going to lose, specifically Matt Hardy, leading to Matt Hardy getting kicked out or beaten up out of the group, which will lead to Jeff and Matt Hardy reforming the Hardy Boys, which I think at this point everybody kind of wants to see. I think it's going to be it's going to be what this is setting up for. Coming from that, we get the three-way, and this order is just how they came up off of Wikipedia, so I'm just going down the order they put. I don't know what the order will be other than the first two matches are pre-show. The three-way for the Tag Team Championship, we get Jurassic Express defending against the Young Bucks and Red Dragon. I think the Young Bucks and Red Dragon are going to cancel each other out and continue to build towards a feud. So I think Jurassic Park picks up the win. I think Jurassic Park, I think, is eventually going to lose the titles to Proud and Powerful. So I don't think they're losing it here. I think the Young Bucks and Red Dragon are going to start something that's going to end up in the main event, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Next up, this is probably one of the two matches that I have the least amount of confidence in. And that's not saying that every one of my picks can't be wrong. I just feel the least confident in this and one other match. We have Jon Moxley versus the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. I'm going with Mox on this one. I think to further on the storyline, I don't think they're going to go based off of what we've seen on Dynamite. I don't think they're going to go with them being mentors to other wrestlers. So I think they're going to continue the feud, and to do that, I think Moxley is going to win here. He's going to win, put out his hand, say, I'm ready to team up with Danielson, and then Danielson and maybe some of the younger talents attack him. But I think that the feud's going to continue on, at least for a little bit. Next up, we have Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston. I'm going with Eddie Kingston here. I think this is his star-making performance. I think Chris Jericho wants to make him a star, wants to build him. So I'm going with Kingston picking up the win on this one. Next up, and I know I'm rifling through these pretty fast. This is just a predictions. We'll do a review and talk about the matches more after the show. But next up, we have the Face of the Revolution ladder match. We have Keith Lee versus Orange Cassidy versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks versus Wardlow versus, at the time I'm recording this, Revolution hasn't aired yet, so it could be Ethan Page or Christian Cage in the match, which I think is irrelevant to the outcome, because I believe this is where the surprise in every AEW pay-per-view has had at least one surprise on it so far. I think this is going to be the surprise. I think one of two people are going to show up here. Either Shane Strickland, Swerve, or Claudio Castagnoli. And Claudio is who I'm going. If you don't know who that is, that's Cesaro, if you've just seen him in WWE. Claudio I'm going with for the win, because what do you win if you win the Face of the Revolution? You grab a brass ring. And where did that come in? when Vince McMahon was talking about Cesaro on the Steve Austin's podcast. So, I think this is good symmetry, a nice way to bring him into the company, a nice way for him to come full circle and grab the brass ring finally, that he was never allowed to grab in WWE, and then we go hit the ground running with Cesaro or Claudio Castagnoli, as we're going to have to get used to, much like we had to get used to calling Bryan Danielson again. Next up for the Women's Championship, and I skipped one here. We got two Women's Championships. First, the TNT one, which I skipped earlier. Jade Cargill versus Tay Kay. I think this is a slam dunk. I think Jade Cargill is going to pick up the win here. I don't see, as much as I'd like to see Tay Kay pick up a win and grab a belt, I don't think this is the spot to do it. I don't think you sacrifice what you're building with Jade Cargill, who is starting to become a megastar, and I think the more that we see of her, the better that she's going to be. So I think this is an awesome spot for her. Next up, and I'm just looking over my board real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next up, we have Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa for the Women's Championship. I'm going with Thunder Rosa here. I think it's her time. I think, again, Britt's had the title for a little while. She's built herself. It's not going to hurt her to lose to Thunder Rosa. Whereas it's going to build Thunder Rosa to even a bigger status if she wins it here. I think this is an easy landing spot for for Thunder Rosa to pick up the win. So I'm going with Thunder Rosa here. Next up, probably the most anticipated match of the night, and the other one that I had the hardest time deciding who I thought was going to win, the dog collar match with CM Punk versus MJF. I really think this could go either way. It really all depends on where Wardlow is. If they decide to go with Wardlow versus MJF coming off of this, I'm picking Punk for the win. If they're not ready to do that, I'm going to pick MJF to win to continue the feud here. Because I think they're going to go into the Wardlow feud, I think they've built it to where if they keep making him look stupid, it's going to go past the tipping point. For that reason, I'm picking CM Punk to go pick up the win here. Last but not least, the Heavyweight Championship match. Hangman Adam Page versus Adam Cole. Baby! I'm going to go with Hangman Page here. I think we're going to see Red Dragon come out to help Adam Cole. The Young Bucks are going to come out. They're going to get into a scuffle, which kind of distracts Adam Cole. He turns around into a buckshot lariat. Adam Page picks up the win. I think, again, I don't think it's time for Adam Page to lose his championship, much like I said with Jade Cargill. I think Adam Page is going to keep going here, at least for a little while. In the recap, got Hook over QT, Layla Hirsch over Chris Statlander, Jade Cargill going over Tay Kay, Darby Sting and Sammy versus AHFO, which I hate saying, Jurassic Express picking up the win in the three-way, Mox over Danielson, Kingston over Jericho, Claudio Pitt winning the Face of the Revolution, Thunder Rosa winning the women's title, CM Punk winning the dog collar, and Hangman Page coming out as the world champion. What do you think? Let me know your opinions down here. Give me your predictions. If you think I'm crazy, let me know you think I'm crazy. If you think everything I picked is wrong, let me know what you think. Hit me up down here in the comments. And make sure you hit like, comment, share, all that other good stuff. If this is the first time you've been here or a couple times you've been here and you haven't subscribed yet, but you like what I'm doing, please click the subscribe button. And if you watch this long, I know you're enjoying the video. Put down in the comments Hangman if you watch this long. With that being said, my name is George Coles, and this has been my predictions for AEW Revolution 2022.